Kick and chase by Mullins. Kick and chase again by Mullins. It'll be a miracle. Oh, it is a miracle. Fafita tries to crash his way over. He does. Fafita got the ball over the line. Hunter's kick is over the sideline for a 40-20.
Yeah, g'day champions and welcome to 40-20 Sports. We're good at the buy, hold, sells. We're going to go through a couple of them for our round 5 teams. A couple of them pretty interesting. Just a little thing we want to do to go in depth a little bit. Not just these short little formats where people only give you 1 or 2, 3 even sort of options to go for, but just for the people that are really confused and looking for a bit of a pod or someone that they need a bit of clarity on a whole range of different people and, again, people to look at that you probably didn't think of. So we're going to run through a bit of that for round 5. Again, congratulations to Wayne, coach of Hell's Grannies, 1,253, top the 40-20 Cup. If you're not in that competition yet, our league code is 726638. Jump on board. You've got until round 8. Heap of prizes coming for that one. We jumped on. We got 1,105, so pretty happy with that, even though we captained Turbo. Like I said, last little video, we are sitting about 9,461st in the 40-20 Cup, so a couple of green arrows for us. But anyway, we'll jump straight into it for our hooker. Look, there's not a lot going on in hooker this week. You've got your obvious Appy Coruscant. If you didn't jump on him last week, he's probably a miss now. With the likes of Harry Grant, I still think Harry Grant is going to be the number 1 hooking position player. Appy with a 45. You know, I was kissed on the pecker with this sort of action because Danny Levi was forced to play him to keep Harry Grant. Danny Levi outscored Appy, which was, I never in a million years thought that was going to happen, but that was good for us, good for the Ferrets. Look, hooker this week is a bit of a wasteland. You've got Jeremy Marshall-King there that's going pretty good. Wade Egan coming back into the throw. That's good for people who are looking for him. The Warriors look so much better with Wade Egan in their squad. So other than that, there's not a great deal of sells. If you have got a Lussick and you're burning about the Danny Levi to Lussick trade, if people made that, just stick with Lussick. Hands isn't named for their team for the Eels this week, so just leave him. See if you can get a bit more of a cash generation going. All he needs is an attacking stat and he'll fly up in the cash rankings. One to keep an eye on, though, is Jaden Brayley. 2 really low scores, 18 and 19. Set to drop a heap of cash. I think his break-even is about 63. So I'll be watching his game against the Dragons pretty closely, more so watching his minutes. So that's about all we've got for the hooking position. Not a great deal going on this week. But yeah, we'll run through our front row forwards. For our buys, this is in no particular order of these are priorities. You should get these guys. These are just flooding you with a bit of information about the guys that I think are good purchases for the next couple of weeks. Stefano Utukamanu, he is 511k. Break even of 29. His minutes the last 3 games he's been getting is phenomenal. I don't think there's been any injury affecting that minutes as well, but he's got minutes of 54 minutes, 61 minutes, and 52 minutes for scores of 44, 67, and 55. He's done a phenomenal job. Apart from his tackle busting, which is going off, he doesn't have any other attacking stats. Tackle bust, he's had 3 tackle busts, 7 tackle busts, and then 5 tackle busts. So he's starting to get a bit more upside with that. Again, no attacking stats. I think a year or 2, he was probably noted as a bit of a try-scoring front rower. He went on a bit of a tear. Benji seems to have handed him the minutes there at front row. So I'm looking at him as a buy. I know it's a bit iffy, 511k. These guys are sort of all priced around there that I'm going to run through, but I think he's a really good option. He's got a massive work rate and he seems to be doing quite well. Next one is Terrell May, 517k. I still think you haven't missed the boat on this one. I think he's going to be top 3 front row forwards of the game for this season. Doesn't matter that he's coming off the bench. Some games he probably won't come off the bench. Jared Wera-Hargraves looked like he was going to come off the starting side. The first week he was back. Terrell May end up jumping in. I still think he's going to get 50 to 55 minutes a game. Minimum. 517k. He's probably going to be up around the 700k mark. 650 to 700k mark towards the end of the year or origin period if you're looking to buy him then. You need to jump on him now, I think. You will not get him this cheap again. Another one is Jack DeBellin, 597k, very low ownership, break even of 36. The last 2 weeks, he's actually been playing front row. The weeks before that, he's been at lock. Now, I've owned him a couple of years ago, maybe even last year when he was playing front row forward. He doesn't have the pass-first mentality. He's just run, tackle, and it's awesome for his Supercoach game. He's in the front row now. His minutes have been good. He's been getting around 60 minutes, 62 minutes, that sort of stuff. So the minutes are there for front row forward. The last 2 weeks, he's got scores of 70 and 71. So really promising stuff there. The only attacking stat in that 70 is a line break assist. He did get a line break assist in 2 of those games, but if he continues at that 70-point average and that high base, he's actually the best ranking front row forward on averages at that 70 for the last 3 rounds as well. He's been quite good. Tom Flegler, another one, pretty highly owned this guy, 531k. I think with a break-even of 26, scores are a little bit inflated by attacking stats, so eventually they will start to decrease, but still, I think he'll be priced around 650k come Origin. That is a nice little downgrade to someone, or you can move him onto something. Averaging 51 minutes so far, so that's really good. Doesn't seem to be too much interfering with that, so I think we can look at Tom Flegler as a 51-minute front row forward, which our front row forwards that are going to be our premium guys, they need to be up over 50 minutes. So he's got that. He's got a big work rate. I think he's a good buy at 531k. Looking a little bit cheaper, we've got Jamin Jolliffe at 473k with a break-even of 26. Uptick of minutes and output for him now that Tino is gone. Sort of was hoping to get him around 50-minute mark. Then his value would skyrocket. He's been around the 45 to 47-minute mark so far, but his base in the last 2 games where he's got the minutes with Tino going down has been 51 and 46, which is really good. Got a try last week, which is going to bump his price up a little bit. His break-even's down now, but he's a bit of a cheaper option at 473k there. To sell, I reckon you should jump off Keenan Palasia as quick as possible. Not named, 365k, so there is a bit of cash there that you can move towards someone that is going to make a bit of cash. Break-even of 57. Look, not named, so not 100% have to sell him this week, but 365k when you can move him on, get a guy in that's going to get some money into his cash flow. You could really use that cash somewhere else, I believe. Sean Keppie at 375k, he comes onto the bench. He has a break-even of 52. Wasn't a massive sell last week. Not named in the squad at all, but now that he is named in the squad, coming off the bench, I struggle to see him getting 40 to 45 minutes like he was potentially going to get starting. Big time off Keppie, 375k. Like I said with Keenan Palasia, you can use that. That is close enough to what you can get for an upgrade for a guy that's a potential keeper in Terrell May or Jack DeBellin, something like that. It's close enough. Jason Taumalolo still owned at 6%. I cannot believe he still has 6% ownership. Surely that is a group of people that aren't playing anymore. Did pump out a 48 last week, which is good to see. But again, that minute fluctuation, you don't know what you're going to get with the Cowboys or Jason Taumalolo. So he is one I think you should flick off. For the hold there, I've got Joe Tarpanay. Earlier on in the year, I think last week before, I thought I saw, he might be a guy that you could move on to a Terrell May or something, but he's 606k, he's got a break-even of 54. Uptick in minutes this week for 60 minutes. Don't know if that's because of the whole Hoskins issue with him not passing his HIA, but still, I think he is one that will hold. Got 4 offloads, which is really promising. Joe Tarpanay about 2022. That's when he was really damaging. Got the tackle bust, got the offloads. So if he can keep it 60 minutes, keep the offloads coming, 70 point is going to basically be his minimum. To be fair, though, he has only had the one really promising year in Supercoach. Last year was a bit of a dour affair. Everyone sort of thought he was going to be the same kind of guy he was last year, the year before. Not to be, but anyway, hold on to him. In our 2 RFs for our buys there, we've got number 1. I think I'll be bringing him in, but Kai Pearce-Paul at 441k. He has a break-even of -2. This will be the last time you get him for under 500k, I think. I think if he gets in the mid-60s, 60 to 65 points, he's going to bump up around 500k, if not over. So last 2 games, 59 and 65 points in base. look, attacking stats are going to come. They've got the Dragons this week. It is going to be a bit of wet weather footy, so you want that guys with those base stats playing 80 minutes now on the left-hand edge. It'll be interesting to see if Cogger or Hastings jumps on that left-hand edge. I think it's going to be beneficial for Kai Pearce-Paul if Hastings jumps on the left. He seemed to work really well with Fitzy last year, and Fitzy was getting a good offload. So Kai Pearce-Paul, our man, I really like him. I think he could potentially be a hold until Origin. If he continues 60-odd points in base, starts getting some attacking upside, he could be a season-long keeper. Next one there is Samuel Afainu, 335k, break-even of 11. Unfortunately, he's not getting the minutes that we were hoping. He only got just a tick under 40 minutes last week. 40 to 45 seems about where he is going to land, I think. But at 335k, he's cheap. If you can get a guy like Sean Kepi or Keenan Palacia, I think he's got a massive upside in him. If he gets a game where he's 60-plus minutes, where there's an injury, and he comes on, fills that void, I think he is the guy to fill that void. He could have a massive uptick. Still, break-even 11, he'll make a lot of cash. Can't go wrong with him, I don't think. The Tigers are flying as well, so good to see. Jackson Ford at 641k. He has a break-even of just 17. Cracked a ton last week with a try against the Knights. Look, he solidified himself on that left-hand edge. Looks to be outside Tamare Martin this week. I think that's only beneficial for Jackson Ford. Metcalf is a bit of a run-first kind of guy. I think he'll get a lot more appeal at the line, a lot more attacking opportunities if that's possible. His attacking upside has been phenomenal this year. Also, his base, mid-50s to early 50s, he's basing 80 minutes. Their draw is opening up over the next 5 weeks. They've got a really good draw. I like him. 641k. He's average over the last couple of rounds. He's the number 1 ranked 2RF. So 641k. We got to get out of this stigma of guys that are Origin players are the best for Supercoach sort of thing. Jackson Ford, cheapy last year. I think he'll be an out-and-out gun this year. Joshy Curran at 507k with a break-even of 44. Looks to have that right-hand edge roll for the Doggies with Jacob Preston out with the facial fracture. I think Joshy Curran, 507k, he's undervalued. I think if he potentially gets 80 minutes on that right-hand edge, he can skyrocket. He will get the prices for us. He looks set to be front row forward 2RF dual, which will be absolutely phenomenal for us. If we've got a guy playing 80 minutes in the second row that can jump up into our front row forwards, I love it. I absolutely love it. For the sells, going to wrap these guys there. They'll be in our CTWs as well, but I'll wrap them up now. Burbo and Jamin Salmon, both of them very popular cheapy options. Both of them not hitting their straps. Burbo not getting the 80 minutes. He sort of got 70 minutes in Vegas because he had a blinder, but he's got a tough matchup against Penrith, and Jamin Salmon has a tough matchup up against the Roosters. So if you can move these guys on, like I said, Kai Pearce-Paul, Blaze Talagi, if you've got him in your CTWs, we'll get on him a bit later. But I'm looking at moving these two guys, if not this week, in the next couple of weeks. There's just no cash generation out of them, so they're basically pointless. They're not scoring enough to warrant starting in the 17 either. Bo Fermor, very popular at round 1. He's probably been sold a couple of times over now, but 457k, break-even of 43, not working on that right-hand edge with Tanner Boyd. Looks like Dave Fafita, he will either come back into the squad this week potentially or next week starting left-hand edge. I think that now that Tino is out, Bo Fermor will nearly be forgotten about. They are going to use Fafita so hard. Now that Tino's gone, I don't like the Fermor option. Just doesn't seem to be happening. The Titans, I pray that I never own any Titans for this year, the way they're looking at the moment. But anyway, we'll run with that. Bo Fermor is a potential sell for you if you're looking to free up cash. 457k, good options around that mark. Satili Tupanua, 421k. I am an owner. I was probably happy to keep him this week against the Dogs and then keep him potentially against the Knights the following week, but at a break-even of 36 and coming off the bench, probably can't see him getting any more than 30 minutes. He was getting 60 minutes off the bench. Don't think he did a whole lot wrong, but still, 421k. He is pretty much a straight swap for Kai Pearce-Paul. or other options that you're looking at there in your 2RF. Another one is Jacob Preston, reasonably highly owned, about 5 or 6%. 600k, out for 6 weeks with a facial fracture. Move him on. Could be a nice little downgrade to someone and then use that money elsewhere. Halfback 5'8", we're going to wrap this all up into one. But for our buys there, I like Shaun Johnson at 662k. He has a break even of 74. But the next 5 weeks, he has the Rabbits, Manly, Dragons, Titans, and Knights. It is going to start to really open up for the Warriors. They've had a really tough draw to start the year. He's got the kicking duties back now that Metcalf is out. I presume he will have them for the rest of the season now. He's at a discount of 131k. So if you're looking to jump onto someone, if you're running with Holding Cleary and you've got Nico Hines, or if you're looking to upgrade someone, Shaun Johnson has leaked the most cash there, 131k. Sorry, not the most, but he's leaked a lot of cash with 131k. I like him for the next couple of weeks. The only issue is that I'm just so hell-bent on getting Nathan Cleary back when he comes, and Nico Hines potentially with a 90-odd, set to fire again. But if you're not looking for that combination, 662k, very good price for Shaun Johnson. Bit of a left field one, if we're looking for options, is Benny Hunt, 605k. He has a break-even of 38. I don't mind him for the next couple of weeks. He's got the Tigers, then the Knights. Knights, then the Tigers, beg my pardon. Decent mashups. He has the most points out of any halfback in the competition so far. Take that with a grain of salt because Cleary, week off and whatnot. But yeah, look, there's worse options. I don't think he's going to make any money. I don't think he's going to lose any money. But for the next couple of weeks until you're waiting for Cleary, if you need someone to fill that void, Benny Hunt, decent option. Cam Munster for our 5'8", 728k. The shambles that is the 5'8" position this year. I understand he's had the slip over in the shower, but I don't think they would be rushing him in unless he was 100% fit. 728k, the draw starts to open up quite nicely for the Storm. They have the Broncos, but they're undermanned. Yeah, next couple of weeks it eases up. I think if you want to go Cameron Munster, I know soft tissue damages, they can be very easily done again, but still, you want to get him in and you want to get the best value and the most points out of him before Origin. I don't know who else you go. Dillbags, he's suffering there in the 5'8" position, but I just think Munster, 728k, it's a fair bit of money, a fair wallop of cash, but you can potentially keep him until Origin anyway, even there throughout if 5'8" is a total shambles. Holding, I would be holding Dylan Brown. He's lost 95k, which is a substantial amount. You've taken the hit. He is going to be the dominant ball player there, the Eels, for the next couple of weeks though, which is promising to see. Looks like he's going to lose another 40k, so he could be an option if you don't have him. He could be a buy option next week if he gets a decent score against the Raiders. I still think he's going to be the second best option in 5'8" role for the season. I think Money Munster will get first. Dillbags will be behind him. If you wanted to go Dylan Brown to Munster, I don't mind it, but it's just a cash generation sort of thing that's hampering him. You've already lost 95k. Do you try and get your second 5'8" to Munster instead of losing Dylan Brown? Luke Brooks, look, one bad game. People are already jumping off. A lot of people jumped on him last week thinking he was going to smoke the Dragons. Not to be. A poor score from him, but I like how Luke Brooks looks. It was a shocking game by the Eagles against the Dragons, so I'm hoping that they will have a nice little bounce back against Penrith. They're at 4 Pines, which is promising. After that, after the Penrith game, they have the Warriors, Titans, Eels, Raiders, Dolphins. So if you can go through potentially Penrith and the Warriors game the next 2 weeks, keep him in there. The Titans, Eels, Raiders, Dolphins looks very promising for Lukey Brooks. I'm going to be keeping him. I'll have him as my second 5'8". Hopefully either get Dillbags or Munster in the next 2 or 3 weeks. The sells for our 5'8", Luke Metcalf out for a month or two with his injury. He is gone. Unfortunately, like you hate to see it, like getting a 2, he was set to make a good bit of cash, but now that's sort of stunted with a 2. It sort of pissed his bloody break even off a little bit. So very disappointing there for owners. They don't really get a price rise out of him, but still bag some good points from Luke Metcalf, trying to move him on. Ezra Mam, 460k, still 10% owned by Supercoaches. I think you need to jump off him. 38 points last week with a try. He's been very, very poor. He's lost a stack of cash. For 460k, move that elsewhere. Use it to upgrade some other players. For our CTWs, the big one this week, he will be number one bought. No doubt in my mind. Blaze Talagi, 204k, break even of minus 55, has a super friendly Supercoach game. Run first kind of mentality. He is set to make 70k, so jump all over that. I'd be moving a guy like Burbo or Salmon. We talked about them in our 2RFs, but a lot of people have them in our CTWs. I'd be buying him for one of those guys. That's a no-brainer. 100-something K, and then use that for someone else. This one's a bit questionable, but Justin Olam, 423k with a break-even of minus 40. 83-point average for the first two games. I only like it if you can get a Burbo or Salmon or Strange possibly to him. I would not be downgrading a Taylor May for him. I would not be downgrading a keeper for him. He's set to make a stack of cash. The only issue with Olam is he's never really been a viable option with the Storm, who are a very attacking, super, super impressive football team the last decade. Olam's been there for all of that, and he's never really popped up on too many radars. So whether he's just had a good couple of weeks, potentially, Juzzy Olam, he could be used as an attacking weapon as their back five is a bit skinny. Could be their go-to guy, but yeah, I think it's a good option if you're looking to go a Burbo and a Salmon, guys that aren't generating cash that well, into Juzzy. Next 2 weeks, he's going to make a stack of cash, then potentially move him on to a Val Holmes, Hammer, those kind of guys. Or you could potentially go him to Marzu when Marzu comes back. The Hammer at 692k. He had a 90k price rise last week, but his break-even is still minus 1 with that 100-something score. Not too late for Hammer time, I believe. I got him in last week. Super happy with that. He just looks different this year. His tackle busting ability, his 3 games, he's got a low score of 70-odd. The run for the Dolphins is phenomenal. He could go massive. He could go absolutely nuclear. He has got the Tigers, an undermanned Broncos side, undermanned Eels side, Knights, Cowboys, Manly, and then the Tigers once again. So a lot of games there where he could potentially get those 100-plus games. A lot of people were worried about him not having a massive ceiling. Well, he proved all that wrong. Last week, he works really well with Jack Bostock. Jack Bostock's another one, 400k now, really low break even. Look, I think if you didn't start with him, I probably wouldn't be moving heaven and earth to get him at 400k. I'd probably be looking at Justin Olam at 423k, preferably. But yeah, look, he's a decent buy. If you've got guys that you're just trying to bring in to get the cash generation, not a bad buy, or Bostock either, especially with that easy run. Holds Taylor May. Taylor May is one of the highest sold players this week. 448k. His break-even is only 76. Look, he'll probably lose a bit of cash. I probably don't see him going 76 this week, although he is coming up against Ruben Garrick. Ruben Garrick's on the right-hand side, Taylor May on the left-hand side for Penrith. Everything's just been shuffling down the right-hand side. I am nearly certain that eventually they're going to start going to the left. He's going to work really well with To'o on the other side. The run is the most important thing for the Penrith Panthers. They have had a fucking hard draw, super hard draw. They've had Storm, Broncos, Eels, you name it. They've had nearly the top 4 from last year come into them. So the next couple of games there, next week they've got the Tigers, Cowboys, Bunnies, Dogs, Warriors. So I am certain there is going to be attacking upside. Hopefully he can get his base back to where it was the first 2 rounds. He had scores of 50. Most of that in base for the first 2 rounds. No one thought of selling him. 2 weeks, I suppose, is a long time in Supercoach, but I'd be holding him. I think it would be a bit of a sideways trade to a Justin Olam or a Bostock. Just a wasted trade. I would be looking for other options to get those guys. For the sells, Tane Tuapiki, unfortunately, I held onto him this week, but Chance Nickel-Clockstad really was hoping that he was just out for one more week and we could get a price rise out of Tane Tuapiki. Chance is susceptible to injury and head knocks, so he may be one If it's 5 or 6 weeks down the track, Chance goes down for a long injury and they look at getting Tua Picky back, I would have no hesitations with getting him back. He's been very unlucky with his runs of HIAs. I think he's a superstar of the future, but yeah, unfortunately he is a sell. Philip Sammy, he's another one, out for 3 to 4 weeks with a syndesmosis injury. He is a sell. Not a high ownership, but still, he is one to go. Jacob Gagai. Now, bottom dollar, I understand that, but Isaac Thompson coming back into the fray and Tane Milne sticking on the wing. He is obviously a long way down the pecking order than what we initially thought. It is the perfect time to not lose any cash, not have him worried about sitting here. You very rarely get these opportunities when you've got a bottom dollar guy who you can straight swap out where you don't have to spend any money to get another guy that is set for a massive price rise with Blaze Tulagi. Sign up for me. Jacob Gagai, straight to Blaze Tulagi. That'd be a perfect trade there, I believe. Fullback. There's a lot of fullback roulette going on. I had a look at some of the trades that have been going on and people are just going mental with this. Everyone was so keen to get Ponga out of their sides. Ponga scores 100 points. Boom, he's getting flooded straight back in. Look, I'm not into it. I'm not into the roulette. There is, yes, Ponga has an easy draw coming up, but this week he's got the Dragons. I think everyone thinks he's going to go mental against the Dragons. Tommy Trbojevic, even though he had a shocker, didn't go huge against the Dragons. It's going to be pissing down in Newcastle. 90% chance of rain, 25 mil of rain. It is expected to team down, so that is one to keep an eye on. Then they've got into the Roosters. When their draw starts to liven up, there's also a lot of other people that draws liven up. So I don't like it. I did jump off Kalen Ponga for Teddy. That was because of cash rises. Now, if we're going to go with cash rises and you're looking for someone to make and generate some cash, then I can understand it. Pappy at 691k, break even of -6. He's an option. Storm's draw opens up a little bit. Got the Broncos down in Melbourne. It is one of the few games that is going to be a dry weather game this week. I think that and maybe the one at Townsville, maybe the ones that aren't pissing down rain. So I could understand going to Pappy if you can get 691k, free some cash up, and move that elsewhere. Gutherson's another one, 700k. Look, I think the 105k discount is bloody juicy, but I think he started overpriced anyway. Goal kicking duties, that is a bit of a plus for the Parramatta Eels, although their attack does look very disjointed without Mitch Moses. I'm not massively sold on it, but there are some guys out there that just live and breathe Clint Gutho for Origin time. If you wanted to get onto him, he's pretty cheap for what he should be and what his output will be. He'll be the main guy there for Parramatta the next couple of weeks, no doubt. Now, a couple of people are trading out Tom Trbojevic, 777k, break even of 89, and he does have Penrith this week. I think the popular buy there, look, if you were hell-bent on it and you wanted to get rid of Turbo and you've got this sick feeling in your gut for Turbo, move him to Pappy. Dry weather game, draw opening up, -6 break even, you're going to make cash. The guys that are going Turbo to Kalen Ponga, if it's flogging down rain Friday night in Newcastle, potentially doesn't have a effective game, is an attacking player. Then jumping into the Roosters, so he may have a tough game there. Turbo has Penrith and then the Warriors. After that, both of their draws are so similar. They both play very easy teams. I just think it's a bit sideways. I don't love it. The time where the Knights draw opens up, the Manly Sea Eagles, they will be going up against the Titans, Eels, Raiders, and Dolphins. Turbo could go massive there. So I don't like it. I don't like the old roulette. I think it's disgusting, really. You're just wasting trades. All these guys here, on any given day, they will score 100. Just ride it out with your guy that you've picked, unless you have this sickening feeling in your gut. But do not try and chop and change trying to pick who's going to get the 100, because you will lose all the time. Anyway, that's about it. So my trade options this week, I'll be looking at going Sitili Tupanua and Tane Tuapiki out. I'll be bringing in Kai Pearce-Paul and Blaze Tulagi. That frees up a fair bit of cash for me. My team starting to look pretty decent. I was sort of hoping to play Sitili this week against the Dogs. He's an attacking back row, but being on the bench, gone. Yeah, my team's looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. I get Harry Grant back this week. I was looking at putting the vice captaincy on Tedesco, but I think it is meant to be pissing down again. The thing that excites me is Munster back for Harry Grant. I am a Harry Grant owner. I'm going to be putting the VC on Harry Grant, I think, and then putting the captaincy role on Val Holmes. I think that's another game where potentially could be not pissing down. The Cowboys against the Broncos sort of showed that they're willing to throw the ball around as well. So Val Holmes will more than likely be my captain. Harry Grant, VC, but Teddy is still a likely option up against the Doggies there for a VC option, I believe. But yeah, Valley Holmes, brought him in for a reason. Fingers crossed he goes large. Anyway, guys, that is about all we've got to get into it. Again, please follow us on Instagram. If you've got any questions, jump on Instagram. It is that much easier for me to respond. I have a couple of guys that I get on really good with at the moment. Going back and forth, I am always up for a chat on anything Supercoach related. I will always get back to you. Do not stress about that. Jump onto our Instagram, have a look. Heap of good options coming up there. But yeah, that's all from us. Take care, guys.